All right, it's our deep dive. Time to go into the Thinking Through My Fingers, the writer series. And I like that all the different writers we've had on have all write in different genres or, all kinds of different ways. And I think that that is a wonderful representation of writing as a source of creativity, information, etc. Why do you write?
Why do I write? It really calls to me, for lack of a better phrase. I feel fulfilled when I do it. Not that every moment is fulfilling. Sometimes it's very agonizing because it's such a slow process. I have friends who can, draw something really quickly or make music really quickly. But writing, I think, is one of the most like primal and raw forms of creation because you really are creating something or a world or people from nothing.
Hmm.
It's just in your head. And so it really takes the time to, as they might say, mold the clay and make it alive. And I discovered it really late. I was in college, I want to say maybe like my junior, senior year. And yeah, I think for so much of our lives, we're given, hey, you could do this paper, you know, 15 pages on Anne Frank or on, Prussia in the 1300s. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's stuff you just don't care about. You're like, okay, I'm doing this because I have to. But must have taken a creative writing class to fill either a prerequisite or an elective, and it was this. It shouldn't have been, but it was a novel idea of like, oh, I get to choose what I write,
Mm,
and this is really fun.
mm.
I'm not writing, what I don't want to, and that just changed everything. And I really dove in. I wrote this like super long script as this sort of like senior thesis thing. Yeah, it was crazy long. And yeah, I was just so excited to dive into it. So yeah, I guess all that to say, it fills my spirit even when it's tough.
Right. Oh, I like that. Um, let's see. Do you have a like any rituals or anything around your writing or, longhand versus going right to the computer?
Hmm. Nothing crazy set in stone. I have a notebook that I'll usually put in my backpack, and if I get an idea for something, I'll write down the date, write down, maybe what story it's for, and then just start going for it. I think it's good to sort of feed that imagination. Um, and then if it's a longer story, I'll start to in Notion or really just any sort of notebook writing app, excuse me, um, start to just put out little sections of it. Like, okay, that would be a good thing right here. Oh, that's a cool idea. And then sort of seeing where it, like puzzle pieces, sort of seeing where it all lays out. It might not all make it in there, but like that
Right.
story is starting to form. And you're like, oh, okay, well, and each new idea stimulates another. Oh, well, what if this? Oh, what if that? Oh, cool. And you might get to the end of it and go, oh, well, that doesn't, I can't have that because now this character doesn't exist anymore. Okay.
Right.
And you just sort of shift around. Um, and then I think the most important part, the phrase I have, I think, taped somewhere on my computer is writing is rewriting,
Ah,
which means it's never going to be great the first time you write it. It's just not. So another thing I have somewhere is that I've heard, don't get it right, get it written.
ah,
Don't get hung up on, well, I need to find the perfect, because I'll sometimes have that happen. And in my scripts, I'll just underscore it. Like, oh, I need a name for this town. Oh gosh, my brain, I can't think of anything right now. Underscore. I'll come back to it later.
Ah,
Or just make up something, but I'll mark it in the script so I can easily find this is blah blah town. So I can find anytime blah blah town is typed. So you're not getting hung up on it because your brain might be, oh, I can't figure that out right now, but I can figure out all this other stuff. Well, don't waste that energy.
right.
You know,
Wow, that is
go down that path.
that's a very good tip. Very more than a tip, it's a full strategy. I like that.
Yeah, and as you rewrite it, you shape it, and it'll get better and better and better. So don't, especially if you're just jumping in. One, if you're just jumping in, have patience with yourself. You wouldn't, I wouldn't just give you a bunch of juggling balls and be like, okay, you're supposed to be able to juggle now.
Right.
And I think people think, well, well, I write, right? But this is a little bit different. Maybe you've been writing reports for your boss, and creative writing might be a little bit different. Poetry might be a little bit different. So give yourself a little bit of grace when you're jumping into that. And then nobody has to see it. The first one can be absolutely awful. You can skip entire pages. I have no idea what happens here. Skip the next page, but I know it's going to end right here when Susie goes to the supermarket. So yeah, cool. Skip to that part and just keep rewriting it until it shapes into something that has an emotional journey in
Ooh, that's a good another good tip.
it.
Um, so tell us what you write. I mean, we've heard about some of your process. We've heard about, the why of it and some of the strategy behind it. Now tell us what do you write?
I'm most I mostly write scripts, and right now I've been really focusing on these short form scripts that I want to get semi animated for a series called Getting By in the Wild, which is like a sort of short version of it. And it's set in your sort of stereotypical fantasy, swords and magic and whatnot, but very loose rules. Because if I want there to be like a train, there's going to be a train. Uh,
Hmm.
I'm not beholden to certain rules, but taking a very silly approach to it and the tropes that happen within. So, one of the episodes I explore is you've seen the cowboy movie. Everyone's eating in the saloon, drinking, gambling, whatever you do in saloons. Uh, and then you hear the double doors open and the spurs, and that the person in all dark with the hat brooding sort of walks in. We've all sort of seen that, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I have an episode where we explore that a little bit, and everyone's afraid of, they call him the Dark Drifter. It's sort of like a warlock because it has that dark motif. Like, what? Who's this dark drifter? And everyone's heard stories about, oh, I heard he was born of a witch and a demon. I heard da, 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 da. And we have this interplay of these two grizzled thieves, uh, you know, extrapolating what they think what this person has done, and then going over to the table of that person, and it's nothing like that. So they're like, oh, what's he writing in his book? Oh, he must be cursing us and freaking out. And then it cuts to the Dark Drifter. Those little kids play mats with the maze, and they like spot the difference, and the guy is just sort of drawing through that. So just having fun with the various conventions of storytelling and fantasy and stuff like that.
So this is going to be a series of a lot of different kinds of, I think you called them, short form scripts is what you call them. So, is that the proper terminology?
Sure, yeah. Hopefully there'll be episodes. They'll be probably less than 10 minutes, and hopefully voiced and semi-animated. and there most of them will be one-offs, but some of them will as those characters. From this, if you continually watch it, or there might be an ongoing series. Like one series I had is this group, like, we need a wizard. And so they're going to the city looking for a wizard. But if you've ever been to the city, there's all sorts of types of people. And so they come across and sort of hold auditions for, like, okay, we need this wizard. Who will we get? And they just meet a cavalcade of strange, strange people.
Great word, cavalcade. Wow, that's a great word. So this is all going to be under the umbrella of getting by in the wild, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Assuming, copyright and whatever else I need to to
Yes,
figure
yes.
out passes. Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself through the writing process?
That characters change and you could try and force something, but also go with your gut. I had really tried to make these two characters work in this same story world of, like, okay, a lot of one-off episodes, but it will really focus on these two characters. And then as I wrote, these other two characters came up and I
Ah,
started to, oh, okay, well, what if I switch them out? And and that doesn't mean that those other characters won't come back. One of them actually is now a detective, and the other one, I don't have a place for her quite yet, but I think she will. So don't force it. I mean, you can. It's your story. Do whatever you do whatever you want. But um, but if you feel it not working, there's a reason. Your body, your imagination, your mind is telling you, hey, this isn't working. What about this?
I like these questions. What about this? What if, I think you said something earlier. What if this? What if that? I mean, that just really cracks open the imagination and allows you to really just go to all kinds of different places.
Yeah, I sort of look at it as you're piloting the ship on the open sea, but it's the currents and the wind that are moving you.
Mm,
So to sort of lean into that if you really want to
right.
go far.
And what advice would you give to somebody who wants to write?
I guess a couple things. One would be it's totally okay to just write for yourself. I think there's, at least in America, or the United States, because that's where I live, and so that's what I know. There's a drive where, well, only if I'm making money, or only
Oh,
if I'm, making a book deal, only if I'm selling it as a series does it matter. And that's just simply not the case. I read, and I'm going to butcher it, but someone online, posted this beautiful way of looking at art and creativity and go, "Well, humans are supposed to dance and
mm,
do art and create, and so many don't, and instead choose other things or have to work so much they don't have that energy to. And can you imagine if the birds stopped singing and
oh,
just like nature does all these things that are
mhm,
beautiful, and you were made for that too. You weren't just made to work a 9 to 5. You
right,
were made to create things, and not everything will be in the huge public sphere, but the internet has joined us all together. So maybe you have a little tribe of 25 people, but they really enjoy your stuff. That's awesome. Or maybe you just keep it for you.
right, right.
Maybe
That's
just share it with your friends. That's totally okay.
right.
Um, the other one that I think really helped me advice wise was this book called writing for emotional impact. And that really helped me because when a lot of people talk about writing, they talk about, three act structure, um, rising action, conflict, and all these things. And I only know because we're related that math is not our thing. And so formulas aren't my thing. I mean, I'm like looking at the formula and it's like, oh gosh, this feels so restrictive. And I get it. If you watch anything 99.9% of the time, it follows that formula. And there's a reason that it follows that formula because it works. But having to think about, okay, well, this is the end of my second act. So instead, this book puts out there, do that if you need to. But for those of us that that's not working, write for emotional impact. Don't think of it as a formula. Think about this is a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
Emotionally, what's going to happen? Emotionally, what would really take this moment and as an audience member, like, oh, what? No. Okay, I need to know what happens next. I need to know that they're
Mm,
okay. I need to know that they're going to get theirs and just keep chasing that. And you can, again, rewrite to make it fit if you're going a little too far or it's a little too little. But if you think of any story, you think of, I went to the store this morning. Is that a story? No, that's something you did.
yeah.
A story would be, I went to the store this morning and they were all out of eggs. There was one last carton and I reached for it and this woman's hand reached down at the same time. And then we both looked at each other and and a brouhaha uh, abounded and we started fighting. It doesn't have to be fighting, but like any sort of story, there has to be a oh, it was supposed to happen this way, but here's how it actually went down. There needs to be surprise. Um, and so to think about it emotionally instead of as a formula really helped me like, oh yeah, I watched that to feel something. Now I'm gonna write to feel things.
Right. Well, that it's such a fabulous point. It really is. And I just read something recently. An author said, we remember characters. We don't really remember plot as much as we remember the characters. And I thought that that was a really interesting point. And I think that's part of what you're saying. Yes, these things happen at the grocery store. You both reach down for eggs at the same time. That's sort of the device. But within that, we're going to learn more about you and we're going to learn more about her, probably. And I just thought that I had never really thought about it like that, that we're really going to remember characters over plot.
Yeah, this again, the twist of maybe we fight for the eggs and then they end up breaking. And you've got a little reversal there. And then uh, I learn her story that it's her 4-year-old son's birthday, and she doesn't have enough money for a present, but he really wants a cake.
It's so sad.
I know I'm getting verklempt just thinking about it. Uh, and then that could be a reversal for my character of like, oh my gosh, well, okay, let's go out together and let's get you those eggs. Let me help you make this cake.
Right.
Like that has a nice emotional twists and turn to it. I can still think of several moments in books and video games, movies, where it was such a just a I call them aha moments where it just really hits you, whether through a reversal or just what happened. And like I'll never forget those moments and how they made me feel because they let me walk in someone else's shoes for a
Yeah.
moment.
Wow. So when can we, do you have a timeline for when we can start watching these and participating in these shorts?
Keeping me on task. I'm now in search of an animator and a concept artist, depending on if that animator also does that as well. So it's less this is the part that I'm not used to, right? Is now having to find and connect myself with I don't necessarily know their world, and I've already, you know, been researching and talking to other animators about best practices and such. Shout out to Frankie. Uh, but to yeah, to put that out there and then get my business set up, get contracts written, just make sure everything's above board so everybody feels safe and secure. Um, yeah, so I just need to.
The business of it all. There is that side,
Yeah,
business of it all.
yeah, and now that the brain continues to improve,
Yes.
hopefully it's just becomes more and more productive.
What do you want those who watch your shorts to take away? What's the takeaway?
Um, I think if it's a comedy, then I want you to laugh, or at least smile. I think I also want for you to feel creative as well afterwards. That hopefully it sparks. Oh, that's giving me a cool idea, and makes you create your own things. But also, I hope it makes you think. Whether against, I tend to do more comedy and then or spooky stuff. Um, I hope it makes you feel, and I hope it makes you think. So you feel during the moment, and then afterwards, you might. I mean, that was a that might be true, huh? Maybe you
Hmm.
didn't think of something from a certain angle, or um, or from someone's perspective, and hopefully you can take something with you because anybody can just put something out there and be entertaining, but I also think it should leave you with something. The gift should keep giving.
Ah, oh, listen to that. You should, I've got to write this down. Keep the gift should keep giving. Oh my,
Hopefully, that's the. It doesn't
oh my
always happen,
gosh.
but
Oh, wow. Just full of all kinds of nuggets. Where can people find you?
I have an Instagram. I don't go on it often. Um, sort of on purpose because I don't want to be. I sort of want to do my thing and not be beholden to it. But hopefully, my stuff will be out there soon on YouTube, and perhaps I will see you out in the wild, and be sure to
Yes,
say
love
hi.
that. Yes. Okay, and I think you have a website as well. Is there a contact us kind of a feature on that, or do people just go on it?
Yeah, but ShaunConde.com. That's mostly for my voiceover stuff, but
Okay.
can listen to me do voices of of people that are not me.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when I get a full business name, I'll have a business website too. But as you know, I need to find one that hasn't already been taken, which is extremely difficult.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Is there anything that you didn't get to say that you wanted to say in conclusion?
No, thank you for having me, and the rest of you out there. Again, make art or do a hobby or sport or whatever. Do it for you, and put it out there for the rest of us to enjoy, because that's part of our humanity.
Right, right. Absolutely. I agree with that completely. Yes. Thank you. What a pleasure this has been. What a delight. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you for having me.